According to the CDC, over 60% of Americans aged 60 and above suffer from high blood pressure, and nearly 1 in 3 are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. What if I told you some of the most common milk products in your fridge may be making it worse? Yes, not all milk is created equal. Many seniors blindly trust that milk equals health. But the truth is, some milk varieties can silently damage your kidneys, spike your blood sugar, and even introduce dangerous bacteria into your aging body. One recent CDC warning underscores that older adults often end up hospitalized or worse because listeria is more likely to go invasive in their systems. E. coli 0157H7 is not your average stomach bug. It produces a powerful Shiga toxin that can damage blood vessel lining and the kidneys. This may lead to hemolytic uremic syndrome, HUS, a dangerous combo of hemolytic anemia, thrombocytopenia, low platelets, and acute kidney injury. Up to 1/3 of HUS survivors face long-term kidney issues. Some end up needing lifelong dialysis or dealing with chronic conditions like hypertension or neurological damage. If a senior in your home accidentally drank raw milk or ate unpasteurized dairy products like soft cheese or homemade yogurt, the first thing you should not do is brush it off. Why? Because in older adults, symptoms from foodborne illnesses often show up late, sometimes 2 to 14 days after exposure. And once they start, things can go downhill fast. What looks like a mild bug at first could spiral into a medical emergency. Watch closely for these red flags. Low-grade fever and chills that last more than a day, especially if they come and go. This could mean bacteria have entered the bloodstream. Diarrhea lasting more than 2 days, especially if it's frequent or contains blood extra dangerous for those with conditions like diabetes or hypertension. Don't wait. If even one of these symptoms shows up after consuming raw dairy, get them to a doctor right away. Don't give it a day or try home remedies. When you're over 65, every hour counts, and delaying care could lead to sepsis, meningitis, or acute kidney failure. Safe, nutritious alternatives that still do the job. Worried that cutting out raw milk means missing out on calcium, protein, or vitamin D? Don't be. With the right swaps, you can keep all the benefits without the risk. You're not giving anything up. You're making a smarter move. Here are some simple doctor-approved tips to help you make safer choices. Always check the label for the word pasteurized. It means the product has been heat-treated to kill harmful bacteria. If it's not clearly labeled, skip it. Plant-based milk is a great option, almond, oat, soy, or cashew milk with added calcium, and vitamin D are senior-friendly, gentle on the gut, and packed with nutrients. Love yogurt. Avoid homemade or raw versions sold at farmers' markets. Choose pasteurized Greek yogurt. It's high in protein, low in sugar, and great for digestion. Cheese lovers steer clear of soft cheeses like brie camembert or feta, unless labeled pasteurized. Instead, go for hard cheeses like cheddar Swiss or Parmesan. They're safer and still delicious. And remember, just because something says natural or organic doesn't mean it's safe. For seniors, safe always beats nostalgic. Raw doesn't mean better, it just means riskier. Soft cheeses made from raw milk, like brie, camembert, queso fresco, etc. The second type of dairy that's often found in your fridge. According to the CDC, listeria is 20 times more likely to strike adults over 65, and soft cheeses made from raw milk are one of its favorite hiding places. Now let's talk about that creamy, delicious slice of brie or camembert that melts on a cracker. It might look innocent, but for older adults, it can be a ticking time bomb. Soft cheeses made from unpasteurized milk, like brie camembert, queso fresco, and even some blue cheeses are high-risk foods when it comes to listeria monocytogenes, a bacteria that can cause severe illness or even death in seniors. According to the FDA, Listeria is one of the top causes of foodborne death in Americans over 65. Soft cheeses may taste creamy and mild, but behind that smooth texture is a serious risk. These cheeses hold moisture longer and age more slowly, creating the perfect breeding ground for Listeria even when stored in the fridge. Yep, you read that right. Cold doesn't kill Listeria. Many people think keeping food refrigerated means it's safe. But Listeria is sneaky. It can survive and even grow at refrigerator temperatures. So just because that soft cheese is chilled doesn't mean it's risk-free. Now imagine this scenario. An older adult, especially someone with diabetes, kidney disease, or a weakened immune system, eats a slice of contaminated soft cheese. What happens next? The Listeria bacteria can slip into the bloodstream, travel to the brain, and cause life-threatening infections. We're talking meningitis inflammation around the brain and spinal cord, confusion, high fever, shaking, or difficulty walking. In extreme cases, sepsis, a full-body infection that can shut down organs. And here's the scariest part: the person might not even feel sick at first. Symptoms can take days or even weeks to show up, and by then, it could already be serious. Let's set the record straight. This isn't about banning cheese from your plate. In fact, cheese can still be a healthy, enjoyable part of your diet, even as you get older. What matters most is knowing which types are safe and why. Here's how to keep cheese on the menu without inviting Listeria to dinner. Choose soft cheeses made from pasteurized milk. Soft cheeses like Brie Camembert, blue cheese, queso fresco, or feta are more prone to bacterial growth because they contain more moisture and ripen slowly. That creates a cozy environment for Listeria, especially if they're made from raw, unpasteurized milk. The solution: only buy soft cheeses labeled "made with pasteurized milk." In the US, that should be clearly stated on the package. If it's not, walk away. Pasteurization is a simple heat treatment process that kills harmful bacteria like Listeria without damaging the flavor or nutrition of the cheese. Skip homemade or unlabeled imports. That fancy-looking cheese from a farmer's market stall, or the unlabeled wedge in a holiday gift basket from overseas. Be careful. Even if it looks gourmet, if you don't know how it was made or where it came from, you're playing guessing games with your health. Small batch or imported cheeses often skip pasteurization or don't meet U.S. food safety standards. And remember, Listeria isn't visible. It doesn't smell. You won't know it's there until it's too late. Switch to hard cheeses. Big flavor, low risk. Love bold flavors. Hard cheeses like cheddar Gouda, Swiss or Parmesan are aged longer and contain less moisture. That makes them less hospitable to bacteria and much safer for older adults. Bonus, they're packed with calcium and protein too. The aging process of hard cheeses creates a hostile environment for bacteria. Even if they were made with pasteurized milk, they're safer and they last longer in your fridge. Light options. Go for cottage cheese or Greek yogurt. But check the label. If you're not into bold cheeses, that's okay. There are plenty of lighter dairy choices that are safe and nutritious as long as they're pasteurized. Cottage cheese and Greek yogurt are both great sources of protein and are generally easier to digest. Just make sure they're store-bought and labeled pasteurized. Skip homemade versions or anything from open-air markets. These light options are often recommended for older adults due to their high nutritional value and lower fat content, but only if they're safe. If you're in your 50s or 60s, this is the time to start smart habits. Here's a hard truth. Listeria doesn't care if you feel young. It affects healthy adults too, especially those with diabetes, kidney issues, or a slightly weakened immune system, which can start as early as your 50s. And remember, listeria doesn't give you an immediate stomachache. It hides. Symptoms can take days or even weeks to appear, and by the time they do, the infection may already be serious or life-threatening. The third type of milk, whole milk. 1 glass of whole milk contains more saturated fat than 3 strips of bacon. Surprised, most seniors don't realize their morning milk might be clogging more than just their coffee cup. Let's talk about whole milk, that creamy, full-fat favorite many of us grew up with. I get it. It tastes rich. It feels real. But here's the truth. For older adults, drinking whole milk regularly could silently raise your risk of heart disease and stroke. According to the American Medical Association, AMA, and the American Heart Association, AHA, seniors should limit saturated fat, especially from animal sources, and whole milk is loaded with it. A single cup has around 5 grams of saturated fat, nearly 25% of the recommended daily limit for someone over 60. Let's be real, aging doesn't just show up in gray hair or wrinkles. It changes how your body works on the inside, too. Once you hit your 50s, your metabolism starts to slow down. Your body doesn't burn calories or process fat as efficiently as it used to. That's where whole milk becomes a bit of a problem. It's rich in saturated fat, which your body now has a harder time breaking down. The result? That fat can start to build up along the walls of your arteries, especially the ones feeding your heart and brain. What can this lead to? Gradually rising blood pressure, higher levels of bad cholesterol, LDL, a greater risk of heart disease, clogged arteries, or worse, a sudden stroke. The tricky part: you might not feel anything until it's already serious. You don't have to cut milk out of your life to stay healthy. In fact, milk is still an important source of calcium, vitamin D, and protein, especially as you get older, supporting bone strength, muscle mass, and even brain health. The key is knowing how to choose the right kind of milk for your heart and your metabolism after 50. These small adjustments may seem simple, but they can make a big difference over time. Choose 1% or skim milk, reduces saturated fat by up to 2/3 compared to whole milk, still delivers plenty of calcium, vitamin D, and protein, helps lower LDL, bad cholesterol, reducing your risk of clogged arteries, stroke, and heart disease. If you're used to whole milk, start with 2% or 1% and slowly work your way down to skim. Your taste buds will adjust over time. Try plant-based options. Almond oat or unsweetened soy milk. Cholesterol-free and almost no saturated fat. Most brands are fortified with calcium and vitamin D, just like cow's milk. Soy milk offers extra plant-based protein, great for heart and muscle health. Choose unsweetened versions to avoid added sugar. They work great in coffee smoothies and cooking too. Add omega-3s with chia or flax seeds. Chia and flax seeds are loaded with heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids that reduce inflammation and support circulation. Just 1 tablespoon per day can help lower triglycerides and blood pressure. They also help you stay full longer, which supports healthy weight. How to use it? Sprinkle into cereal, yogurt, oatmeal, or blend into a smoothie. Avoid flavored whole milk, strawberry, chocolate, etc. These are often packed with added sugar and extra fat, even though they're marketed as milk. They spike blood sugar and can contribute to weight gain, diabetes, and high cholesterol. A better idea: if you like a touch of sweetness, add banana slices, cinnamon, or vanilla extract to plain milk. It's safer and naturally delicious. The fourth type of milk we should pay special attention to: sweetened condensed milk. Just 2 tablespoons of sweetened condensed milk contain over 20 grams of sugar. That's more than a glazed donut. and yet many seniors are still adding it to their coffee every day. Let's talk about sweetened condensed milk, that thick, creamy treat we often find in desserts Vietnamese coffee or poured over fruit. It tastes amazing, no doubt. But for older adults, especially those with chronic conditions like diabetes or heart disease, this stuff is a blood sugar bomb. According to the American Diabetes Association, seniors should keep added sugar intake below 25 grams per day. But with just 2 spoonfuls of this milk, you've already hit that limit. And let's be honest, whoever stops at just 2? As we age, our bodies change in ways we often don't see. And one of the most important shifts happens in how we process sugar. The pancreas slows down. Your pancreas is the organ responsible for producing insulin, the hormone that helps move sugar from your blood into your cells for energy. As you get older, the pancreas becomes less responsive, producing insulin more slowly, and sometimes not enough. That means when you eat something high in sugar, like sweetened condensed milk, your blood sugar rises, but there's no quick response to bring it back down. Insulin becomes less effective. Insulin resistance. Even if your pancreas is still doing its job, your cells might not respond well to insulin. This is called insulin resistance, and it's extremely common in adults over 50, even in people who haven't been diagnosed with diabetes. When insulin can't do its job, glucose sugar stays in your bloodstream longer, causing chronically high blood sugar levels. Over time, this puts a heavy strain on your heart, kidneys, nerves, and eyes. Sweetened condensed milk is a sugar bomb for your system. Let's talk about sweetened condensed milk for a second. Yes, it's creamy. Yes, it tastes nostalgic. But it's also packed with added sugar, often over 20 grams per tablespoon. That's more sugar than a whole cookie. For someone with type 2 diabetes, it spikes blood sugar dangerously fast. Prediabetes. It speeds up progression toward full-blown diabetes. Heart disease. It raises triglycerides, contributing to plaque in arteries. Even in people without a diagnosis, it adds to long-term risk with every spoonful. It raises triglycerides. The hidden heart risk. You've probably heard of cholesterol, but triglycerides are just as important. They're a type of fat found in your blood. When you eat too much sugar, your liver turns that extra sugar into fat, especially triglycerides. High triglyceride levels are directly linked to blocked arteries, atherosclerosis, heart attacks, strokes. And unlike blood pressure or blood sugar, high triglycerides don't come with symptoms. Many people feel fine until a serious event happens. You don't have to say goodbye to sweet flavors, but you do need to be smarter about where that sweetness comes from, especially as you age. As we mentioned earlier, your body isn't as quick or efficient at processing sugar in your 50s and 60s. But here's the good news. You can still enjoy sweet foods and drinks. Just choose the ones that support your health instead of working against it. Here's how use unsweetened plant-based milks. Almond oat or soy. These milks contain little to no sugar when labeled unsweetened. They're naturally low in saturated fat and cholesterol. Many are fortified with calcium and vitamin D, supporting bone health, just like dairy milk. How to use it. Add to your morning coffee cereal, oatmeal, or smoothies. Unsweetened oat milk in particular has a creamy texture that mimics dairy very well. Add cinnamon or vanilla extract to coffee. Cinnamon naturally enhances sweetness without adding sugar. Vanilla extract adds depth of flavor, making your drink feel treat-like. Both are zero-calorie and diabetes-friendly. Pro tip: start by sprinkling cinnamon into your coffee grounds before brewing, or add a tiny splash of pure vanilla extract. Not imitation to your cup, it instantly feels fancier and more indulgent. Try stevia or monk fruit instead of sweetened condensed milk. Stevia and monk fruit are natural plant-derived zero-calorie sweeteners. They don't raise blood sugar or insulin levels. Great for people with prediabetes, diabetes, or high triglycerides. How to use it. A few drops or a small pinch goes a long way. Try it in tea coffee, homemade yogurt, or even baking. Craving dessert mix. Greek yogurt with fresh strawberries. Greek yogurt is high in protein and probiotics, great for digestion. Strawberries add natural sweetness. Fiber vitamins and antioxidants. You skip the added sugars found in flavored yogurts or traditional desserts. Make it even better. Top it with chia seeds or crushed walnuts for texture and healthy fats. The fifth type of milk, quite popular among seniors, rice milk. Today we're diving into rice milk, a non-dairy option that many people consider healthy. It's light, slightly sweet, and easy to digest. But for older adults, especially those dealing with type 2 diabetes or muscle loss, rice milk might be doing more harm than good. 1 cup of rice milk contains less than 1 gram of protein. That's a big red flag for older adults. As we age, protein becomes essential for maintaining muscle mass, supporting balance and mobility, keeping bones strong, and reducing the risk of fractures. Without enough protein, seniors face a higher risk of falls and broken bones, weakened strength and stamina, slower recovery from illness or injury. So while rice milk might be easy on the gut, it does almost nothing to support muscle and bone health, 2 areas that need serious attention as we age. It has a very high glycemic index (GI), meaning it turns into sugar in your bloodstream very quickly. What does that mean for someone with type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, or even just unstable blood sugar levels? Drinking rice milk can cause a sharp spike in blood sugar, followed by a crash. This leads to fatigue, irritability, or mood swings. Over time, damage to the heart, eyes, kidneys, and nerves. In other words, rice milk acts more like a sweet drink than a true milk when it comes to how it affects your blood sugar. When it comes to non-dairy milks, not all options are created equal, especially for people in their 50s, 60s, and beyond. If you're managing diabetes, muscle loss, or simply want to protect your long-term health, here are my top recommendations for milk alternatives that are actually helpful, not harmful. Let's break them down. Unsweetened soy milk, high in protein, easy on blood sugar, contains around 7 to 9 grams of protein per cup, comparable to cow's milk. Naturally low in saturated fat and sugar. Has a low glycemic index, meaning it doesn't cause sharp blood sugar spikes. Many brands are fortified with calcium and vitamin D, best for seniors with muscle loss, osteoporosis, or type 2 diabetes looking for a milk that supports both strength and stability. Pea milk, e.g. Ripple, muscle support in every sip. One of the highest protein non-dairy milks, 8g protein per cup. Naturally free of lactose, soy, and nuts. Great for people with allergies. Fortified with omega-3s, calcium, iron, and B12, essential for energy and red blood cell production. Best for older adults recovering from illness or injury, or anyone wanting to preserve muscle mass without relying on animal products. Add chia seeds or ground flax seeds to your breakfast, rich in plant-based omega-3s, protein, and soluble fiber. Helps regulate blood sugar, lower cholesterol, and improve digestion. Just 1 to 2 tablespoons added to oatmeal yogurt or smoothies can boost nutrient density significantly. Best for anyone who wants to increase protein and fiber without changing meals drastically. Look for fortified milks with calcium, vitamin D, and B12 calcium plus. Vitamin D, fast, stronger bones. Fewer fractures. Vitamin B12, sharper memory, less fatigue, and better nerve health. Many older adults naturally absorb less B12 from food, Fortified milk can help fill the gap. Check the nutrition label. Look for at least 25 to 30% daily value of calcium, vitamin D, and B12 per serving. The sixth type of milk that contains lactose. Over 30 million adults in the U.S. are lactose intolerant, and most of them don't even know it until their daily glass of milk starts turning into daily discomfort. Let's talk about lactose-containing milk. The regular cow's milk many people have been drinking for decades. It seems harmless, but for seniors with even mild lactose intolerance, it can lead to a whole host of gut problems, bloating, gas cramps, and even diarrhea. According to the National Institutes of Health, NIH, 65% of the global population has some degree of lactose intolerance, and the rate is even higher among older adults, especially those from African American, Asian, and Hispanic backgrounds. Why? Because as we age, our body naturally makes less lactase, the enzyme that helps digest lactose. If you've ever felt bloated, crampy, or had an urgent trip to the bathroom after a glass of milk or a bowl of cereal, you're definitely not alone. These may be signs of lactose intolerance, a condition that becomes more common as we age, but often goes unrecognized. Lactose is a type of sugar found in dairy. To digest it, your body needs an enzyme called lactase, which is produced in the small intestine. But here's the catch. As we get older, our bodies naturally produce less lactase, sometimes a lot less. This is especially common in adults over 50. So what happens when you drink milk with lactose, but your lactase levels are low? Your body simply can't break it down efficiently. Instead of being absorbed in the small intestine like it should be, the lactose travels down into the colon undigested. There it becomes food for bacteria. And those bacteria throw a party. They start fermenting the lactose-producing gases and other byproducts. This leads to bloating and abdominal pressure, cramping or sharp pain, excessive gas flatulence, and in many cases diarrhea. These symptoms can show up within 30 minutes to 2 hours after consuming dairy and can last for several hours. As we age, everything in the digestive tract slows down. Food moves through more slowly. The muscles of the intestines weaken. The gut becomes more sensitive. That means the discomfort from lactose fermentation lingers longer and may feel more intense. And because these symptoms are non-specific, they're often misdiagnosed as irritable bowel syndrome (IBS), mild colitis, or simply sensitive stomach, when in reality the real issue might just be a glass of milk your body can't handle anymore. The seventh type of milk, high sodium, or heavily processed dairy products, such as certain packaged cheeses or salty yogurts. Some packaged cheeses contain more sodium in a single slice than a bag of potato chips, and most seniors are adding them to sandwiches every day without a second thought. Let's talk about high-sodium dairy products like certain processed cheeses, salty yogurts, or pre-flavored cottage cheese. These may seem harmless, but for older adults, they can be sneaky triggers for high blood pressure, and long-term, that means higher risk for stroke, heart attack, and kidney damage. According to the American Heart Association, adults over 60 should limit sodium intake to no more than 1,500 mg per day. But just 2 ounces of processed cheese can contain over 400 mg, nearly a third of your daily limit. And that's before you add anything else from your meal. Why salt becomes more dangerous as you age. As we get older, our bodies handle salt very differently than they used to. Blood vessels become less elastic and kidney function naturally declines, meaning your body can't flush out sodium as efficiently as it once did. What does that mean? Extra salt stays in your system longer, and that can quietly raise your blood pressure often without any noticeable symptoms. You might feel fine, but over time, this hidden strain on your heart and arteries can increase the risk of hypertension, high blood pressure, stroke, heart disease, kidney damage. As a doctor, I hear this all the time from older patients. But I hardly use any salt, doctor. And they're being honest, they rarely pick up the salt shaker at the table. But what many don't realize is that most sodium doesn't come from the salt you add at home. It comes from processed and packaged foods, including canned soups, deli meats, frozen meals, and even many dairy products like cheese and flavored yogurts. These hidden sources can add up quickly, even in a meal that looks healthy. So there you have it. 7 types of milk and dairy products that may seem harmless, but could be working against your health as you age. From raw milk loaded with bacteria, to sugary condensed milk, to salty cheese slices raising your blood pressure, it's clear not all milk is created equal. If you're over 60, or even in your 50s preparing for the years ahead, now is the time to make smarter, safer choices. Your bones, your heart, your blood sugar, and yes, your bathroom habits will thank you. Small swaps make a big difference. Start today. Check your labels. Listen to your body. And don't be afraid to change what's been routine for years. Your health is worth more than habit. If this helped you or someone you love, go ahead and like this video, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe to Senior Life for more straight talk on aging well with heart humor and real solutions. You've got this. Let's live smarter together.